But then you watch a game like tonight and LeBron kicked his ass. He's not ready to be a top 15 guy, but he really, really, really gives a shit about every game. It's great. I love it. This is a long, sustained offensive excellence that when you watch it feels legitimate. We're not going to be nice. What do we care? We're just these, let's call it what it is. All right, we are taping this 8:44. Sal, are you happy? What are your emotions right now?
It's worth the wait. So worth the wait. I gotta tell you, Bill. I know I can't root against them. I hate it. I know it cost us a draft picks in certain order, and I know I have Tampa Bay to win the NFC South, and yet when that defense plays with the intensity that it did, it is very hard to root against the Cowboys. You have to feel that way too. Come on. Come on. I mean, your team didn't win, but you know what I'm saying, right?
I thought you were doing Collinsworth, but you're doing Sal. I thought you were going to do that. Yeah, my guy, this is the greatest game I've ever seen. I've never seen a football game like this, Mike.
It was the greatest everything. It is the greatest secondary, is the greatest interception. That run from Baker is the greatest.
The producers are in Chris's ear like, Chris, please stop saying how the Cowboys have nothing to play for. Like 5 minutes later,
right?
Dallas has nothing to play for, Mike. They had nothing to play for. Well, I don't even know why they care. Why do they trust them?
Get back on the bus. I want to watch Vita Vea. I wish he would moon me. I'm going to rename my son Vita Vea. You hear that, Jack Collinsworth? You're Vita Vea Collinsworth now.
Mike, this is the hardest hitting game that doesn't matter at all, and everybody should turn the channel that I've ever seen. That was quite an ending to quite a weekend, and I gotta say, I'm footballed out.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to watch this game, especially once Dallas was eliminated, even though they're already eliminated. But I watched it because we had to watch for the pod. But big picture. This football stretch we're in, we had Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, tomorrow, 2 Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 9 of 12 days football. And I'm already feeling like I'm at Fogo de Chao, ready to tap out, ready to turn.
You're turning the red? You're going red already?
We get another game tomorrow. I'm going red.
Red
I can't do it. I can't have any more meat. This is too much, especially the college football. It's too much.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot. Yeah, you're right. And it had a Friday on, but you and I love it. We love the money line favorites, and the money line favorites came in 6 in a row between the college and pro games Friday and Saturday. So that was a nice little nest egg we built, right?
All the faves hit except for Philly, which we will talk about thanks to Jalen Hurts. But basically any sort of money line parlay with any reliable, good to great team, 5-6 points and up, hit. It was your kind of weekend. I was thinking about you because Usyk was fighting too. Our guy that we love betting on. He hasn't lost since the first Obama term.
Right.
And just get to throw him in with different parlays. You get the Buffalo money line and the Green Bay money line, but Philly was the letdown one.
That was awesome. I know it was entertaining, right? And it's nice to win Christmas week, but yeah, Philly. And by the way, with Hurts going out, the first thing we thought of was our friend Brad and Hench, who both on separate leagues had Hurts starting. And
the 2 leagues we're in, our 2 craziest friends had Hurts.
The most volatile, infantile fantasy rooters and owners. Hench is talking about the independent neurologist for 14 hours straight on text. He was so upset.
He just kept texting about it. Hench is like diametrically opposed to Chris Nowinski in concussion protocol. So get him back in there. And then our friend Brad, who hasn't won our knockout league, I don't think since we've had the knockout rule, but he's been voted out 3 times.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him. We may have to do like an unplanned wellness check. We've done a few of those, but not for a fantasy.
Yeah. So Hurts ends up with 4.5 points. He gets he crushes anybody who had him. Not his fault, but not the big story from that game because Jaden Daniels not only locked down offensive rookie of the year, I think 5 TDs, 82 rushing, another come from behind win, another like super exciting DC moment.
Yeah.
And it feels like his mojo came back the last couple of, he was definitely hurt there for I don't know how long, but now he's starting to look like him again. But that was such a great win. It felt like they had lost that game 5 different times. I didn't even know if it was a bad Eagles loss. They had Kenny Pickett. And I had the Eagles in a parlay, and it's
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett's in there halfway through the first quarter, and you're going, what the fuck? Like, I definitely never wanted to bet on Kenny Pickett again in my life.
Hmm.
But he actually wrote me in. I was like, he seems okay. And
We're not
then,
offered insurance. Yeah, yeah. God bless, commie fan and Ringer pregame show co-host Joe House, and I picked this Washington team to make the playoffs. And Jaden, thanks for the offensive rookie of the year loot, but I can't wait to bet against this team in the wild card round. I mean, the starting quarterback goes out,
yeah,
5 turnovers for Washington, and a drop pass, maybe the worst big drop pass of the year by Devonta Smith, which would have run the clock
there were
out at the
two
end.
because there was that long one to
Right.
Barkley too, was another backbreaker that.
He should have
And
had that
by the
too.
way, the Giants fans have always said he never catches those.
Yeah.
He's got like butterfingers on big pass plays, and that was yet
Mhm.
another one. But the Devontae Smith one, there was a lot of those today though in the cold weather games. I think we forget how cold it is. Like the Bills Pats game, by the second half, everybody looked like they were wearing oven mitts.
Yeah, it's not as cold when we're screaming at the TV in our
Nah,
toasty living rooms. At
wearing a
the
blanket.
big
Yeah.
teams. Yeah, but Washington needed every bit of everything we just named to win that game. I mean, are they the full shit team? I mean, starting with the Hail Mary. I know maybe a few unlucky breaks with injuries, but
Well, what's
honestly,
their
as
so
a
they're
seven
10 and
seed, I'm
5,
good.
10 and 5 right now?
Hmm.
The Hail Mary was stupid. They had one other really stupid win, and then this one. But I mean, this one they earned. Like you have what was it, first down and goal from the 9 under 20 seconds left. That should be like the most important. It's like
Oh,
a
sure.
9-yard 2-point conversion. Guys wide open. The Eagles just completely fucked it up. But
Yeah, that was dumb.
I, so in that case, I felt like that was almost it wasn't a bad Eagles loss until that last drive. Because if your defense is that good, everybody's like, this is the most well-rounded, including me. This is the most well-rounded
Mhm.
team now that Detroit's done. Their defense is gone. The Eagles, they can get stops. Not only did they not get stops, like that was like one of the worst touchdowns anyone's given up this year.
It was really bad.
Guys
But
wide
I'm
open in the
thinking
middle of the end zone.
you have to think he'll be back, Hurts, right? And so if that's the 2-7 matchup,
Yeah.
now it's now it spells doom, I think, for Washington. I don't think there's any way Philly loses
Yeah,
that
but
game again.
those games are always weird with them, though.
Yeah,
How many weird Philly Washington games can we have?
it's true. They
And
beat
then
them
there's
weird
always
on
like
that Monday night.
fans from either side at both of the games.
Philly's defense needs to be a little better. That's for damn sure. But like a lot of these top teams, you could say that for.
Well, the weird part was I didn't understand like that the 12 man on the field,
Mhm.
guys running off, all of a sudden they're just giving up like a 70-yard touchdown to give them the lead. There's a lot of stuff I didn't like with them. But you look at the playoff picture, like they're locked into the 2 seed.
Yep.
Right. So they have Dallas and the Giants left. Dallas, your team is like a surprisingly hard out now. I don't think that's a cross off by any means, especially if they decide to sit Hurts for a week. So if it's
What a
you,
bunch of
Kenny,
jerks.
Kenny
I
Pickett
know.
next week, yeah, you might be
That'll be
8-8.
fun.
So they're
Ugh.
locked into the 2 seed, and then the 1 seed is just bizarre. Where Detroit feels like they've lost like one time in 3 months, and yet
Mhm.
somehow Minnesota is controlling everything. If they just win their last 2 games, they're going to be the 1 seed.
Yeah, right. Now that Philly lost. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think I have to go to Vikings intervention. You have to throw an intervention for me because every Sunday I come on here and I praise Sam Darnold and he has
Yeah.
32 touchdown passes now. And then Friday, I'm like, oh, who are they playing? They're not going to show up this week. I'm going to take Seattle. And
Oh
I
no.
get it right in the keister. I mean, it's ridiculous what Minnesota and Darnold are doing. And I'll probably take the Packers next week.
I can't believe you just used the word keister.
Yeah.
That's
Is
like
that
that's
not
like for
allowed?
no, it's
Oh
just
shit, we're live.
mid 70s people and up. It's like
Yeah. It's
Aunt
really Love
Chippy and
Boat-esque.
your dad might have gotten that one, and that's it.
I just
Yeah,
came from
look,
seeing them. I think that's the problem. Yeah.
I bet on Minnesota this week,
Oh, you did.
and mainly because we have all these Seattle bets. But I'm the same way. I said uncle with them a while ago. They're legit. I don't know how many times they have to do it. And I thought what was interesting about that game. So rooting for Minnesota to score, Seattle takes the lead. Minnesota's down 4. They actually have to go down and score a touchdown. There's like
Right.
5 minutes left. And I'm sitting there on the couch where I haven't moved for like, I don't know how many hours. And I'm like, I think Darnold's going to get this. Like I
Uh,
swear that was my feeling in the cat. I was like, he's gonna get it. I really think
Dude,
he's gonna
I
go
was
down the
worried.
field and
I thought you were gonna do
score.
the orgasm face again. I was worried there. All right,
No, that was
sitting on the
great.
couch, and now
That you know what's funny about those is when I'm doing that as a joke to make you laugh, and then it
yeah,
gets cut out as blog posts. It's like, look at this weirdo doing
yeah,
the. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm literally doing a joke. You can't cut that out. Trying to make fun of me when I'm doing a joke.
I think
Anyway,
they thought they caught you off guard
yeah, I
in a
was like,
weird
oh my
moment.
god,
Yeah,
what's he doing? It's like I'm doing a joke.
yeah.
But anyway, Minnesota down 4, and Darnold, he's done it. I don't know how many times this year, but there's 7, 8 quarterbacks in the league that I feel like can get that done. Wasn't an
Yeah.
easy scenario, but he's got these 2 great receivers that always seem to be open in the right times. But that throw breaks through. He's got pressure, cuts through, throws like almost like a semi sidearm. He's got to beat the safety. It was just a great
hmm
play. And then Gino became Gino at the end of the game, which he always
They got a
does.
little lucky because they got the face mask. Was it a face mask called on Darnold? It's one of
Yep.
those things where there's three
Yeah.
guys about to sack him, and one of the idiots like puts his hand on the face mask. Like,
Yeah. And then like yanked
shit,
him.
you got to call that. There's nothing
Yeah.
about it. But it was a great throw, and he marched. He is so cool under pressure and marches him right down the field. And Jefferson has 5 touchdowns in the last 3 games. Like I don't want to say he was missing. He was MIA the
Right,
first
they
10
were
weeks,
double
but
teaming him. Yeah, they were
yeah,
taking him out. They were
this
like, go throw to Addison and go throw to Hawkinson.
they're only going to get better, I think. And so why am I going to bet against them again? God damn.
I think you could, if we're just going, who do you trust the most right now? I think there's a real case for them
Yeah.
because it always feels like they can score when they need a touchdown. Their defense can create enough havoc that they can get some
hmm
stops. They always seem to grab a turnover when they really need one.
Ben Ginkle is
And
always in. Yep.
and they're exceptionally coached. We make
hmm
fun of coaches a lot. Like my Patriots today, who had 2 really good drives in a row to start the game, but then as the game went along, the wheels start to come off. We had a backward lateral on like our own 8-yard line that
Saw
ended up
that.
getting recovered for defensive touchdown. Like, what are we doing? Why are we having Drake Maye whip a screen pass to Stevenson, who's already fumbled, who
Mm.
isn't exactly Mr. Hands in 9-degree weather inside our own 10-yard line? Like, what are we doing? Why are we
Yeah.
punting from, midfield when we're down 10? You watch that stuff.
You
And then
went
you
on
watch
4th and
Minnesota.
2 though. You had the nice fake there. That was fun for a
Well,
minute.
yeah, the fake punt. But
Yeah.
but then you watch Minnesota and it's like I agree with everything they're doing. This team has it. They're really
hmm
well coached. Flores is great on defense. O'Connell knows what the fuck he's doing. Really good team.
Yeah.
I'm in on the Vikings. I think they're legit.
I think they are too, and I think they play defense. And if you talk about like the 4 or 5 top teams, like, obviously the Lions it didn't kill them today, but their front 7 is injured. They have 22 guys on IR or out. Most of those are defensive players. We saw the
Yeah.
Bills defense. I don't know how much more you need to see out of that. Who else? Philadelphia was bad today. Like really just like the Chiefs and Vikings are the only 2 teams defensively right now with a few weeks left that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, the Pats had 28 first downs on the Bills defense today.
Yeah. Wow.
Like we have no receivers. Like we have an offensive coordinator that will do 10 dumb things a game. And we
That
had
was a
28
winnable
first
game.
downs. It
Your boy,
was. But
he
we've had
wasn't
like
that good
6
today.
winnable games. Maye
Yeah,
wasn't that
your
good in the
boy,
second
your
half.
boy
I'll
wasn't that
admit
good.
it.
Yeah. He was.
I,
I mean,
but when it's this
you
cold,
listen. You give him 15 chances to score from inside the 5. He's gonna hurt you. That's what he did at the end. Don't do that because he will show you up.
come on. Why are you
Come on,
making
my
fun of me?
team.
My team, I have the second pick in the draft right now,
I
thanks to
know
Antonio Pierce.
that is nice.
Antonio Pierce like fist pumping in the sidelines, like we did it. We dropped from 2 to 6. We got this. Wait, going back to that, let's talk Washington,
Yeah.
Philly, Minnesota, that whole vortex. So the Hurts concussion, I think, is in the running for one of the biggest football moments of the year because it didn't just feel like it swung the seeds. It also happened during semifinals in fantasy.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to think of like what injury that he'll be fine in a week or so, but what like relatively minor but sucky injury would have had more impact on more people. Hurts is like a top 5 fantasy quarterback. Like I guarantee he was on all the same. So it was just like a crazy
Right.
moment. And then watching Pickett go in there, and you're thinking like for Washington, like this is really good for them. Like they
hmm
if they're any good, they should probably steal this game. And then they couldn't do it for 2 hours. But So that happened. And then the Minnesota thing, and Seattle's out now, it seems like, right? I mean, they're not officially out, but
Well, they play
you
the
know,
Rams, right?
I know, but they're a game back. They
Yeah.
basically need the Rams to lose next week. They need to win next week, and then
Yeah.
they need to beat the
And those
Rams.
Rams will, I mean, there's a couple games they've won scoring one or no or two touchdowns, right? It's just, they just get it done. So weird with them.
You know what's weird about them? They're like a January team. They're like the opposite of what their profile is.
Hmm.
You know, like you think of them, you think they're like this dome team. They're going to be in these 37. They're in these ugly, like 19 to 16,
Yeah.
20 to 17. Like that, that's kind of makes more sense when you're watching them. Like the Jets didn't punt. I don't think they punted today, or they punted once.
Hmm.
But just like ugly turnovers, going for it on fourth down, not getting it. Um, I don't know. They're like one of those boxers that you can't like figure out what their style is.
Right.
They run the ball really well some weeks, other weeks they don't. Some weeks Stafford looks like he's 40, other weeks he looks like he's 25. I don't have a handle on them at all, do you?
I don't either. I don't know. Yeah, I want to say I want to bet against them in the playoffs, but if Stafford, I think Stafford's going to struggle in cold weather a little bit. I think we saw
Yeah.
that, and the numbers support that. And if Aaron Rodgers just didn't hand them the ball at the end, that might have been a
He
game.
was
At least
awful.
they, really
He
good
was
stuff.
awful.
But yeah, they have what they score against San Francisco 12, and then barely 19 today in 10 days. I think they have 3 touchdowns now. 2
And
wins.
it's a lot of like it's a little Chiefs-ish
Yeah.
where if it feels like if it's close in the fourth quarter, you feel like they're gonna pull it out and they'll show
Right.
McVay and he's like high-fiving people and doing that whole thing. The other big scenario that happened today, and you could feel coming Thursday after that game flipped with the Chargers and the Broncos. It's like all of a sudden Cincinnati is
Hmm.
doing the sleeper hold. And Cincinnati, it's like 1, 2, and then it's like, oh, oh, the finger. Oh my God, what's going on? They've won 3 straight. They're missing their left tackle and their right tackle, and their defense is awful, although it's pretty good today. And yet somehow they're still alive.
Yeah.
And if they have they're playing Denver at home next week, and then at Pittsburgh week 18.
Pittsburgh, which might not mean anything. Pittsburgh could be in that scenario where we're the 6th seed. We don't care if we're the 7th seed. Doesn't seem like teams really
Or
mind
Pittsburgh could be the
wherever they go.
5 seed. Yeah, they
Yeah.
could be 5 or 6 and not even care. And then they need Miami and Indianapolis to lose
Can I just say something?
once,
I
which
had
by
my,
the way is
yeah,
not a Miami's playing Cleveland and the Jets. Indianapolis is playing the Giants and Jaguars. So
Colts
those
have it
teams might
easy.
run out.
Right, right, right. I had my biggest bet of the year. I'm gonna come clean. Penn State, Cincinnati teaser.
Mm.
And I was so mad at the Bengals. I was like, how the frick are you not putting this game away?
Yeah, but
Like this you make
they were
everyone
at
sweat
17
it
points for
out.
2 hours.
Jesus. And you got Dorian Thompson, Robinson, Pete, whatever his name is, running up and down the field. Like, are you kidding? I know it's 24-6, but
Yeah.
can't they? This is the defense. Your defense has been awful all year long. Can you just keep it in check against Cleveland, not scare us so much?
No, nobody would believe it from the box score. I
Right.
actually really enjoyed the bad football. I had bets on every game except the Rams Jets. I was like, I'm not going near that. I don't like what we talked about with the Rams, but
Right.
um, that Cleveland game was close. Their
Yeah.
kicker missed a couple kicks. Dorian Thompson Robinson was terrible at the exactly the wrong times, but for the most part seemed pretty competent. Their defense
Hmm.
was doing a good job, I thought, against the Bengals.
Yeah.
And it felt like
Right.
they were hanging around, and all of a sudden it was going to be 17-13, and they were going to have the ball with 5 minutes left. I was freaking out too. I didn't understand why the Bengals couldn't close it.
It's a sexy bet. I know our buddy Raheem went with it plus 680 to make the playoffs. I haven't checked it. Of course, it's lower now. That's what it was this morning. But I don't even know if they run the table, even with that slate that you said, home against
Their
Denver. And
defense is bad. Yeah,
yeah,
everyone's doing that. You don't want to see them, and it's like, nah.
right.
I think I'd feel good about seeing them.
Yeah.
Actually, they can't stop anybody.
Yeah. They're very
The
inconsistent.
So you have them. You have Denver, who really looks like smoke and mirrors
Mhm.
personified. Miami, who actually got a good game from Tua today. We'll talk about that later. And then Indianapolis, who ran for 335 yards today against a terrible Tennessee team. But if you
Mhm.
catch them in the right 20 minutes, they look pretty good. And
Yeah.
I don't know. One of those teams is going to be the 7th seed, and who do you be the most afraid of out of those four?
Um, so if you're who, let's say who's the two, would we say? Buffalo?
I
Like
think
going
two's
to
going to be
Buffalo?
Buffalo. Yeah. So
I mean,
you're
I'm
hoping
gonna
for
contradict
Miami because
myself, but maybe Cincinnati. But yeah, Miami it wouldn't scare me if I'm Buffalo going there. Colts
would
wouldn't.
scare you.
No, no, they can't. Tua, I don't know. Are they gonna have a balmy day in January? Like I don't see it. I
If I'm
guess it's
Buffalo, I'd
Cincinnati,
want
but they're gonna kill everybody. I think.
yeah,
What do you
but
think? Who would you be
well,
most afraid of?
Miami I'd be fired up about because cold weather, they have no chance.
Yeah.
Indianapolis, Richardson in a playoff road game, no
Mm-hmm.
chance. Denver, Bo Nix, I don't see it.
Right.
Sorry, I know you love Bo Nix, but
No, it's fine.
that
It's
same teams like that team has like a good hour in them and they kind of need the lead and then they kind of hold on.
their offense. Bo Nix, I do like them. Um, Pretty much the same as last year. If you look at the numbers, it's a defense that's allowed 7 fewer points a game.
Yeah, and Benito turned into one of the best
Right.
guys in the AFC.
Yep.
I would be the most scared of Cincinnati. Not, I know it sounds like I'm contradicting what I said before, but I think the team that beats Buffalo in the playoffs is just going to be the classic. We outscored them. We won 42 to
Right.
40. We won 38 to 35. You're not stopping Buffalo anyway. So weirdly, the Bengals not having a defense, I don't know if that
Mm-hmm.
matters because whenever Buffalo wants to move the ball downfield, they do. What's interesting about them, Cooper, again, didn't do anything today. One
Nothing.
catch for 10 yards.
Yeah.
And that was their
Yeah.
big trade deadline move. It makes me wonder, should anyone trade for a receiver during the season? Like the
Yeah.
Adams is
Then
doing well for the Jets because Rodgers is throwing to him 28 times
right.
a game, trying to get him going.
Right.
But meanwhile, they scored 9 points. But
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be with, yeah, you're right with Buffalo. But I think with Cincinnati, even if they do outslug Buffalo, there'll be a time to just bet against them, right? This team doesn't win 2, 3 games in the playoffs. They're just not built like that at all.
no, but they could win one. And I
Mm-hmm.
think if you look back at the season they just had, so what's their record? Are they 500 yet? They are. Oh,
No, I
they're
don't.
7-8.
Yeah.
But they had how many dumb losses? KC 26 to 25, Washington 38 to 31. That was stupid. Baltimore 41-38. That was dumb. They lost that other Baltimore game 35-34. They lost that stupid Chargers game
Mm-hmm.
34-27. And then they lost that Steelers game when they put up 38 points. Like they've kind of been around some of these losses. But I think they could play like a 38 to 35 type game. And maybe
Yeah.
Burrow is just awesome. So
Yeah.
that's who I wouldn't want to play if I was Buffalo.
Yeah, I
But
mean they have superstars, Chase Brown, Higgins, and Jamar Chase. But yeah, it is interesting. They're almost exactly the opposite of the Chiefs, who have somehow made a deal with all the players and the organization that we're not going to break 31 points this year.
I
We're going to
know.
three-peat, but never score 31. And here's Cincinnati scoring 31, 3 out of every 4
Right.
games, and can't get win less than 500.
Yeah, even in the Casey game this week was like God forbid they took a 10-point lead.
Right.
The other team always has to be within one possession with 10 minutes
Mm-hmm.
left for some reason. I will say though with KC, and it's a little like Usyk watching him just kind of figure out how to win the last few rounds. You just feel like when you're in the fourth quarter, the Chiefs, you just feel like they're going to figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really make sense as you're watching it. They don't seem really better than any team they're playing. You're not like, whoa, look at those guys. It just always feels like they're just going to make 2 plays and steal it. But if I was the rest of the league, I would be dying to play them.
I don't
I
know.
I would
I
just feel
don't
like
know
we can beat
anymore.
these guys. Watch this tape. We can take these guys.
I just think it's all bullshit. I really do. They're good. They know you, like you said, they know how to be there at the end, and yet they don't have a go-to guy other than Mahomes offensively, right? It's like, oh, Noah Gray. Oh, all right, he's their guy. Oh, Kelsey can only catch a 3-yard pass and spin for 5,
Yeah.
but I don't know. And also, can we stop with the high ankle sprain garbage? Like don't call it that anymore. That's not what it is. If he's not wearing a boot on Wednesday, it's not, call it tooth decay. That's closer to what he has than a high ankle sprain. If he's running around, he's a full participant in practice on Tuesday. Give me a break.
It was like an ankle tweak
Yeah.
that they tried to sell like it was this terrible
Yeah. When
injury.
you
It
run
was
off your
stupid.
curb to get the mail or something. That's what it is.
So Denver has Cincinnati and KC left. Chargers have the Pats in Las Vegas, so they're winning with that. Miami, Cleveland, and the Jets. Colts, Giants, who are awful. They are the worst team in the league. They just suck. They're so bad. I was having fun in the first quarter of that game thinking, oh, they took the lead 7-0. It's like, okay, just don't make any mistakes, Drew Lock. Is it not? I'm going to throw some pick sixes. I'm not even going to throw one pick six. I'm going to throw two.
He got it.
I'm going to throw in a Judon.
Yeah, right. He got it. He knew what he was doing.
So they play the Giants and the Jaguars.
Company,
the Jaguars are pretty terrible too. So I don't think Cincy's going to make it. Between Miami and Indianapolis, I think one of those teams are going to win.
Yeah, it's only 2 more games now for each of them, so it's doable.
Special season for the Cleveland quarterbacks. I added up the touchdowns and interceptions. What do you think?
Who was the best? Was Jameis the best?
Probably the most productive both ways. What do you think for TDs and interceptions for the season?
TDs,
all the guys combined.
11, 21.
Oh, that was pretty negative. 18 touchdowns somehow. 20 picks.
18 touchdowns? They have that
well,
many?
Jameis had like 13 in 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's true. He went crazy in that one Monday night game too. Yeah.
What would you guess for Thompson Robinson's career? Touchdowns and picks.
I know he's amongst the lowest ever for QBRs. So 614. I don't know.
9 picks, 1 touchdown.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. We probably should have talked about that on the Ringer Sunday pregame. It's like, hey, one of these 2 teams has a guy who has 1 touchdown and 7 picks.
Yeah.
Now he's got 1 for 9. All right. Switching gears. I have a segment we're going to call Murder Watch.
Oh, good.
Yeah. First up, the Raiders murder their top 2 pick. The Raiders are locked into it's a 2 quarterback draft. How do you feel about Cam Ward? What's your take?
I like him better than Shedeur Sanders. I still don't, my problem is I've bet all these guys and lost a lot of money on them.
Yeah.
And I've cursed Shedeur Sanders for hanging around the pocket too long and taking bad sacks, but I like his mechanics. I just feel like Cam Ward is more NFL ready right now. And I'm, like I said last week, I'm not sure any team, because you get the Dion BS with it, right? I mean, you can't shed that if you take Shedeur. So I don't know why. So you're thinking Raiders? I mean, who would be more fun?
Well, the Raiders right now, it's Giants 1. They're taking a quarterback. Raiders were the 2nd pick. They desperately need a quarterback, even though I guess I wouldn't say O'Connell was good, but he at least was, it's like when my dad drives to my stepmom's house in Albany. It's like, he got there.
You're proud of
like
it.
that. Yeah. It's like a compliment. Raiders go from 2 to 6 because they lose today. Pats move into 2. So all my Pats text threads, if we just hold on, Chargers next week, Buffalo week 18, that 2 spot.
We just hold on.
Just hold on at 3 and 14, and then we're in the trade spot, right?
So what do you want? I mean, what do you even want?
I mean, I don't know. Like, let's say the Raiders are 6 and they want to move up for Shedeur Sanders at number 2. It's at least the 6th pick, next year's first, some other stuff. Tennessee's going to need a quarterback, and the Giants. So 3 teams in the top 7 need a quarterback. There's only 2. And what I didn't want was for the Pats to be 3rd. So, so right now it's Giants, Pats, Jaguars, Tennessee, Cleveland, Vegas, Carolina. And the irony of this is Mac Jones helped us twice. After completely murdering us last year, he wins a game to push them to 3 wins and push them behind us, and then loses today to the Raiders, pushes them ahead of us. So he pushed.
Is it irony, or is he still
ahead.
on the is he still on the payroll?
Maybe he is. Maybe maybe it's one of those things we didn't change the.
Seems like too much irony.
Yeah. So the Raiders were their pick.
You're going to get. So what do you get? You want a big lineman to protect this guy, right?
You need a lineman.
That's what you have
to
do.
Scouting left tackle footage, which is about as boring as it gets.
It's not going to be sexy. You're not going to. You don't want the wide receiver. You already said that, right? So
No, it's
And
like, hey, let's take a long look at Kelvin Banks Jr. of Texas.
hmm
But anyway, I don't know. We'll see what that pick's worth because once we get closer to the draft
it's
and
true.
people start getting excited about the quarterbacks, and then you start forgetting the bad stuff, and I don't know how it's going to play out. All right, that's one murder. Miami murders the Niners season officially. Now you could
Mm.
say it was on life support. They were awful. And I really don't know where I stand on the Brock Purdy contract extension now because I haven't like he had a couple terrible plays today.
hmm
And I don't know once you start removing those weapons, Debo's not quite Debo anymore. There's no Ayuk anymore. There's no McCaffrey. And he just looks like another guy that I'm watching who's good at scrambling and occasionally throws the ball up for grabs.
Yeah, there's just no way to tell with him. I mean, I guess we're getting a look now, like, right? Like he was the guy that everyone needed to be there. Like you said, the conditions have to be ideal.
But
Shanahan
you and I
schemes
were
have to
both
be
in on
working.
him. Like we were like,
I
this guy's
know.
impressive. You got to
We
hand it
flip
to him.
flopped 1,000 times on
Yeah.
Purdy, I would say, but I still think he's worth it, man. I watch these 10 a.m. games on the West Coast. I see 8 or 9 bad quarterbacks. So what are we talking? 50, 55 million? I feel like, I don't know. I think you're going to get,
I
we
wouldn't do
know he
it.
could win 10 or 11. You don't think
I
so?
wouldn't
You
do
think
it.
all these guys are going out?
I wouldn't do it. I
Hmm.
don't want to pay $50 million a year for somebody that's not a year in the Tua situation. Again, Tua was good today, but I don't do you want to pay Tua 50 million a year? Do you
No,
want
but
to
I think he might be worth it when you look at these other guys. You got to
I
start
don't know
from scratch.
how do you build a great team around him because you need a better line. Like Trent Williams has been out and all of a
Well,
sudden he
that's a
can't block
problem.
anymore.
Yeah, that's an
I
issue.
To me the question would be is there a Darnold every year now? And there won't be a Darnold this year because I think if Minnesota doesn't bring him back now, this is lunacy. But maybe that's the move is you trade for JJ McCarthy. You know, the
Yeah, I
Niners have
know.
like the 10th pick in the draft. Maybe they're just like, let's take that guy off your hands.
But I mean, that's a monster. That's a first round pick. So you're going to
Yeah.
trade. I don't know that they're
McCarthy
going to
went
do that.
eighth last year and got hurt.
Right. I
So
don't
what's
know.
he
I
worth
mean,
this year?
when you say is there another Sam Darnold? This is kind of like a unicorn situation. This is what
It's
his
not
seventh
though.
or eighth.
We had Baker Mayfield the year before. Like,
There's not too many guys who need 7 years to prove themselves, is there?
could be Zach Wilson
Those
next year.
two, I
Could be
guess. Could
Cooper
you?
Rush.
Oh, interesting. We're
Would
not
you take
letting
a
him go.
first for Cooper Rush or no?
I think we got to get two firsts, and someone has to fix the roof.
Yeah, I mean, you're
I think
probably
that's
right.
fair deal.
History of the NFL says Darnold's a complete anomaly. You can't count on getting lucky like that again. And other teams have tried, but like Geno Smith on Seattle, they were able to
Right.
patch that together.
Yeah,
I,
it's a
I think
few.
it happens a little more than people realize, but what I know doesn't work is paying somebody 50 million who might not be worth it. I'd be really nervous about that.
Yeah, the 49ers, the window might have closed with this core group for sure. But that's still that offense does hum when McCaffrey's there and Ayuk's there and everybody else. So they have to keep, man, it really is the Trent Williams thing though, isn't it? That's the big
Yeah.
piece.
And
So
Ayuk.
different without him. Yep.
Um, when we did our futures draft before the year and you tapped out, I won the Fogo de Chao. I can't wait for next year now that we know it's like whoever taps out first
What do you
loses.
mean? I
You
did?
tapped out. Yeah.
Yeah,
We were
because I
doing
had enough
futures back and
winners.
forth. You ran out. You
But
ran
I
out of
won. I'm
futures.
gonna win. I'm gonna
I
win.
did
You'll
five.
see.
No, I'm definitely winning. I
No.
hit more of
Who'd you
those.
have?
Yeah.
Really?
I had some great ones. I had some plus 300s. I had some big ones.
We got to
Um,
look at those. I want to see those.
no,
That's
I think I'm
crazy.
gonna win. But one of the ones I took at the tail end after you tapped out was Niners under 9.5 wins, and it was plus 260.
Hmm.
So I wish next year I just want to print all these out. What do you think Niners under 7.5 wins would have been? Like
Oh
plus
yeah.
700?
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah.
I think we have to remember that for next year. There's always going to be one or two teams that are like 5 wins worse than whatever the over under is, and with some crazy 7-1 value, try to
What was
guess in each conference what team it's going to be.
what was McCaffrey's prognosis when we had done that? Like he might miss one game. Wasn't that like
We were dubious. We thought he might be out for like the first month,
well, we
right?
thought that, but did they? I mean, we know better than everybody, but no. But what were they saying? They said really maybe a month, or they
It
weren't
w-
saying anything.
it was dodgy. It was dodgy enough that
Right.
it affected our fantasy draft.
Right. That's true. Yeah. I want to look at those numbers. I picked offensive rookie of the year winner. I picked possibly the
You had a
defensive player
couple.
of the year. Yeah.
One of your best ones was you had Pat's worst record, Detroit best record was like 36-1. You're not going to hit it,
Oh,
but
that's
I
right.
hit a bunch of like Pat's unders, NFC South. I did pretty well.
We got to
It's
pull
going to
these
be a good
out.
battle. We'll see. There's a lot of ones left, but we did well in the
Mm.
over-unders too. That Miami Niners game. I don't know what happened to Tyreek. I don't know whether he got paid or but it feels like he's not as, it feels like Jonnu Smith's the most valuable
Oh
offensive weapon they
yeah.
have now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But they really ran the ball today, and it was the first time they ran the ball in a while. Now, granted, they're playing this Niners team that felt like it was whatever, but it did make me think like this is kind of the Miami team we thought they were going to be before the season. This like speedy team that could also like really pound you with this crazy run game, and it feels like they're figuring it out a little bit. I thought they played really well in that game.
Well, how surprised were you to hear that Tua threw his 100th touchdown pass of his career?
That
I
makes
was like,
sense. That's like 25 a year.
I don't know why it really threw me for a loop. I was like, this guy has 100? That's exactly what I thought. He's had 25 for a year,
Yeah.
but they're sitting all that time.
We've
But
been really harsh on him. I
yeah,
thought he was good today, and
he was
Tyreek
good.
dropped two touchdowns that
They
he
said
like
what they said that
he
someone
was
got a
all
hand on it, but yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
No, he was good.
He pulls those in. You know who's good? Me for taking the over in that game.
Let's
14
talk
and
about
2.
that.
14 and 2 with my wisest wagers. Just let me get this out. Just everybody set your alarm if you're on the West Coast. Watch the Ringer pregame show on YouTube TV. On the West Coast, it's 8:04 in the morning. You catch my bet, you plug it into FanDuel, and you go to sleep until 1 or 4, you'll wake up a winner. I'm
You're
14
on a
and 2.
heater because the one today was super lucky.
It really
You
was.
were gonna lose. You were under.
Yeah.
Achan is up 5
Yeah, he's an
with
idiot.
like less than 2 minutes left, running for a first down. Most guys in the league fall down on the
Everybody.
5 yard line, and he's like,
Everybody.
"Fuck it, America needs fantasy points in the over," and he just runs right in for the touchdown.
Big ass smile on his
Cover.
face
You
too.
must have been
Couldn't have
going
been.
nuts.
I was like, this is insane. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna lose again.
I had
11:04 Eastern.
I mailed you guys my 13 pointer today,
You
which
had that
was
on
the
there.
Bills
Yeah.
Packers money line, the
Hmm.
Bears plus 20, which I somehow won, and
That
then
was
the
good.
other one was your over, which was
Right.
like over. I teased it down to 31. They almost had that in the third
You
quarter.
needed it to in the fourth. Yep. That was good.
One other funny thing about that game, I think Shanahan is my number one coach where it's like they're down between 4 and 7 points, and I feel like they have no chance. Remember that? I actually looked it up because I was like, I vaguely remember there was some weird Shanahan comeback thing. He was like 0 for 37 before the playoff game in January
Right.
against Green Bay was the first time they came back. But it
Hmm.
was yet another one where it's like, Shanahan, they're probably not come back. All right, next murder. Carolina murdered Arizona's season.
Yeah, they did.
And Bryce, who we left for dead last week, outplayed Kyler Murray, who yet again, as a recurring theme with him, both this season and for his career, just cannot stop having 3 absolutely horrible, abysmal, excruciating plays per game. He can't not do it. And he's been in the league, what, 6 years? I'm out. I was out already, but I'm like all the way out. Doors closed, locked, done.
It does seem like he's one of the quarterbacks who really should lobby for a 3-quarter football game, right? Like you're not going to see fourth quarter is too long for him to not make 1 or 2 crucial mistakes.
Or maybe
I mean,
mulligans. Yeah, he's like the guy in golf who's like, can I get a mulligan
yeah,
on that? I just almost killed the foursome to the left on the other hole. Yeah, all right, take
right.
another shot.
And
He
the
just
crazy,
has 3 mulligan passes that you don't get mulligans in football.
right. And we used to imagine like when we were growing up, if someone kicked, no one kicked a 58-yard field goal. But if someone kicked a 58-yard field goal, you were going to win that game, right? If it was that
Right.
important. And he couldn't even do it. It was like a punt return for a touchdown. Couldn't even do it. Couldn't win this game in overtime. Very strange.
So the guy who kicked the field goal, Chad Ryland,
Yep.
was on the Patriots last year and single-handedly lost us 3 games with terrible kicks and is the reason we have Drake Maye. There's a couple of people I follow on Twitter that are Pat's people that they call him the Tank Master. the commander and tank chief, because it was like he just brought us home. And he went to Arizona, and now he's just banging home 58 yarders, like in bad condition. Like, it doesn't matter. He makes everything.
Yeah, it's their best offensive player. Yeah.
So he hits that. And by the way, they got really screwed on a call in that end of that game where Kyler scrambled out of bounds. And they did that weird. This is another NFL call that they just have stopped being consistent on ever. Is the guy, did he fall forward or not? All of a sudden the ref's like, no, keep it going. Even though he seemed like he, was in control of his own out of bounds destiny. I haven't figured that out yet. And then the Panthers win in OT. And the Panthers now have 4 wins. This was my lock of the NFC. 5.5 wins under Panthers.
Oh, you're good.
I feel like I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, wait, how's it end up for them? I mean, my boys
I'm a little nervous. They're just playing they're playing the other teams in the conference.
Oh, right.
Or in the division.
Oh, they're at Tampa. I mean, Tampa, talk about a murder. There's gonna be murders if they don't win that game.
Yeah, they played Tampa. They're on the road, Tampa and Atlanta. They're not gonna win both of those.
Yeah, they gotta start thinking about top 5 picks now.
Am I good with the NFC South? 25 wins.
How many is it now?
And they're all playing each other. It's going to be closer to 30 than I'm a little worried. That was my all-time lock.
Oh, there's 25 so far. Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Oh man, what are you gonna have to hedge? You're gonna have to hedge some dumb Week 18 game.
No. Yeah, Tampa's 8, 16, 20. They have 25, and it's like 3 where they're playing each other where somebody wins. So that's like 27. I think I'm gonna get it. But I can't believe I'm sweating it out. And then we're going to win our NFC East one.
Well, hold on. Yeah, so it's Bucs, Saints, and Carolina, Atlanta. So you'll know before Week 18. That's Week 18.
I'm okay. I'm going to be fine.
Yeah, you'll be good. You'll be good.
I'm furious that I'm sweating it out, though. Next one. The Rams somehow re-murdered the Jet season. It felt like this was like positive vibes with the Jets. Enigma came out. They won last week. It's like, oh, Rodgers, if you look at his stats, this is the best season a Jets QB has had in like 12 years, all that stuff. Nope. They sucked. And he sucked. Yeah. He was terrible.
He was bad.
He was awful.
And you're right. The highlight will show the Devontae Adams touchdown, right?
Yeah.
But everything else, poor decisions in the pocket, can't get free.
Slow.
Just slow as shit. I mean, what are they talking about bringing him back or another team signing him? I just don't get it. I don't care. Please, it has nothing to do with him personally. What would possibly catch your eye that you would sign this guy again?
I can't think of a single thing. Yeah. I will tell you another person who's not going to be back. Ulbrich. He's the 2024 Brandon Staley Award winner. Yeah. I don't think anyone has a worse sense of when to go for it on 4th down, when to punt. He just fucks it up every time. It's like whatever's going to work. He's like, I'll just do the opposite. Let me try that. This guy will never be a head coach again.
He's got Brick in his name. The bricklayer. We gotta come up with something for him. But we have 2 weeks to do it.
Hey, how about you'll never be a head coach again? Can we call him that? Is that a good nickname?
Yeah, it's a little long. I don't know.
A little long.
It's on a license.
I just feel like we should have appreciated Pit Boss Rich a little more when we had him.
Yeah.
And the whole concept of an interim coach with like real character coming in and just being like a substitute teacher. I don't know. There's a Garrett Wilson subplot with the Jets that you can really feel when you're watching them. I just don't think he's going to be on that team next year. And I would love to get him on the Patriots. I'd take him right now.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's really good. And I think Rodgers is just favoring Adams or Lazard or whatever guy he has some history with over like Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's going to go to another team and be awesome.
He's got to be great in the right offense, in the right scheme.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the Patriots, but it's definitely not the Jets.
Patriots. Come to the Patriots. Come play with Drake May.
Oh, man, bro. We were told you have to take Garrett Wilson no later than 7th in the first round and Breece Hall 4th. Forget it.
Garrett Wilson murdered 2 of my fantasy teams. Here's another murder. Gerard Mayo murdered analytics. I don't know if you caught this. So when the Pats punted from the New England 45 on 4th and 6, 8:33 remaining in the fourth, down 10,
Mm-hmm.
punting to Josh Allen, the MVP of the league. A
Right.
surrender index, according to the surrender Twitter, surrender index of 9.08. It ranked in the 95th percentile of cowardly punts of the 2024 season and the 91st percentile of all punts since 1999. Another chapter for Gerard Mayo's new book, Scared Football.
I love the
Unbelievable.
fact that cowardly punts has to go on someone's resume. Like if that guy goes for another job, like, all right, let's see, your teammates, team seems to like you. Yeah, you did this. All right, yeah. Oh, ooh, cowardly
Ooh,
punts.
2 cowardly punts in
Oh
2024.
no. Oh, can we get that down? Can someone write a letter on your behalf explaining the cowardly punts?
The
Cowardly
announcers were
punts.
praising the Pats today because they rolled Drake May out a couple times.
Yeah.
They played with pace. They did a fake punt. They were like, the Patriots aggressive. I'm like, we're 3-11. Like, of course what are we protecting? We suck.
Yeah.
It's
I was
ridiculous.
sending you live odds for them. They were plus 142 when they're up by 10. What was it? 14?
Never, ever
Really?
did I think we were winning that game.
Mm.
Because if I had been panicking about the draft pick, there would have been a moment in that game where I was like, holy shit, we're going to blow this and actually win. But it was the perfect game. Drake May, he knows the program. Do just enough, get everyone excited. He's going to have a couple dumb 21-year-old plays. He has every
Yeah.
game because he's 21 years old. But I love him.
Let me ask you something. I'm
love
being
him.
honest. I'm not
No,
being a
don't-
jerk.
don't-
And I do no, but what is the difference between him and Mac Jones? The first
Oh my
12 weeks
God.
of Mac Jones. Don't
Oh
give me
my
one. Oh my
God.
God. After 10 weeks, you were saying they should redraft. Mac Jones would be one or
No,
two.
stop.
Well,
I was
what? You
not.
did. You
Mac Jones
absolutely
was
did.
always like a game manager. This guy.
Oh my God.
So DeBundo sent me something. NFL offensive success rate leader since week 10. Lions, Packers, Ravens, Bengals, Bills, Rams, Patriots.
Yeah.
Like Drake May's good. We have nobody. We have no receivers. We can't block. We have a running back that has 7 fumbles this year.
Never
We
said
haven't.
Mac
There's been a
Jones was
7 fumble player since 2020.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but you
We
love
have
Mac Jones. You
penalties.
did. I'm just saying, be careful. You
No,
did love Mac
I-
Jones. Took you
I'll
to
go
playoffs.
further.
Yeah.
My favorite Boston rookie of the 21st century.
What?
Yeah. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I'm all in. I'm all in. I am happy to be haunted with this clip forever. Drake May is a sure thing. All the Pats fans are
Boston
nodding now.
rookie.
We've been watching. He's fucking incredible. Team sucks.
Wait a minute. Wasn't Mookie Betts a rookie for you?
Yeah, I love Mookie Betts. I have him above Mookie Betts.
Oh my.
And I loved Mookie Betts.
Oh man, you are.
It's so
drunk.
hard to get a quarterback. It's like the fucking single hardest thing to do.
I know.
You could go
I know. Yeah.
decades without one. I really thought after Brady we'd have no chance to ever have one again, and now we have this fucking guy fell out of the sky. It's amazing. And the funniest thing is he might not even be the best quarterback in his class because Daniels is also amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you gave Caleb versus Drake May, it's like no contest.
I can't believe you. This is a little much. This is just a tiny bit much.
I don't feel like it is.
Based on the Mac Jones
feel like it
praise,
is.
you did love. You didn't call him a game manager for after 10 weeks. You loved him. You thought he was number 1 or 2 in the league, rookie.
If Harrison started to be like a lifeguard at the beach,
Oh, this is personal now. Yeah. My Harrison or James Harrison?
yeah,
Mine.
and he
Yeah.
just swam out and saved somebody's life,
Still wouldn't like him.
you'd
Still
be
wouldn't-
like, "Wow, that was nice." If you did it every week, you'd be like, "Hey, this kid's a hell of a lifeguard."
what kind
Drake
of life
May,
is
week
he?
after week, it's just
he's
like
saving
fucking-
lives?
He's fucking. I can't believe the shit he's doing.
Oh my God.
Like the first
Imagine-
drive, the first drive today, he did 5-6 things that were like, I can't believe he didn't get sacked. I can't believe he got out of that. I can't believe he threaded the needle to Booty, who's covered by 2 guys. How did he get him the
Right.
ball? Like he's like incredible.
But you
then he
could
sucked in
believe
the
that
second half
You
for
could
him.
believe that he didn't win, right? Because he's done that 12 times.
Well, not that many.
That
times.
you could believe.
No, I'm super excited about Drake May. You're not going to pour water on it.
All right. Okay.
And I'd be
No, I
excited
like-
for
I like when you're
Harrison if
resting.
he was a great lifeguard and just saving lives every week.
I think both of those are over exaggerated. 3 and 12.
Do you really have you been watching him?
I have.
He's
I
like
think-
shockingly good.
What the fuck? What really?
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. I
Just
gotta look.
Give somebody who's super talented the worst coaching, the worst play calling, the worst blocking, and the worst receivers. And then they're still going to get 28 first downs on the road against Buffalo.
I'm just saying, be careful because we've saw Trevor
fine.
Lawrence. We saw Mac Jones.
Trevor Lawrence never did this as a rookie. He was never this competent ever in his life.
I can't believe you have 3 wins.
Here's what's going to happen.
It's really,
Here's what's going to happen. Mark my words. The Nerds.
This was a winnable game today. You could have.
We've had like 7 winnable games because of him. We have no good players. We have him and Gonzalez. Here's what's going to happen this week. The Nerds, when they do the EQ, all like the fancy stats, Maye is going to be amazing in these different stats, like the PFF, all that stuff. I'm telling you, he's going to be great. And all
you and the
stuff.
Nerds. You should watch games with the Nerds.
Can we bring in Kyle for a second? Kyle, are you listening to this?
No, yeah,
I'm here. Kyle, tell Sal how good Drake Maye is because he doesn't seem to believe me.
He's really good, Sal. He's really good.
Oh, he is? Oh,
watch the first half of these games. You should just watch the first half.
Oh, just the first half. Okay, all right.
He's really good.
All right, you turned me around. I didn't believe you, but Kyle,
Sal, just be on the right side of history of this. Drake Maye is a guy.
Really?
It's a guy. He's a guy. This is happening.
How much are you going to pay for him in fantasy next year?
I'll say this. He's going to be on all my fantasy teams going forward.
Really?
Yeah.
What a lunatic you are.
I love Drake
years
Maye.
Old?
This is great.
I'm
so happy we have a quarterback again.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's great. I love Tatum. Tatum first year, I was like, this guy's got it. We got somebody. This guy's like a special guy. And I feel the same way about Drake Maye. Felt the same way about Ray Bork in 1979. It's like, this guy's a guy.
Rookie.
This is special.
You're missing
Mookie Betts, same
here.
thing. Mookie Betts as a rookie is like, this guy has it.
Yeah. He did have it.
He did have it. And then he took it to
wait
LA.
on this guy. Yeah. He'll be around.
Right, we'll see. The Saturday games. Baltimore handled Pittsburgh. Winnable game for Pittsburgh. Russ Wilson. Is this a Pickens? Is it a Pickens thing, or is this is always who Russ was?
It doesn't help, but I was waiting for this kind of. I mean, it was the first bad hustle and bustle game we've seen in a while. He fumbled at the goal line, and he threw that bad pick at the end there.
2 terrible plays.
Honestly, the thing that makes them just like everyone else, if they're going to give up 220 rushing yards I mean, I know it's Derrick Henry, but that defense can't take weeks off. That's for sure. Otherwise, you're going to look at 34-17 every week.
Yeah, I agree. I just feel like with Pickens, I'm not willing to make a definitive anything on them until Pickens is back. I want to see what that looks like.
Wednesday. Yep.
Pittsburgh has to win out, or they have the 5 seed. The other team is Houston, who I thought was on pace to maybe win that KC game. That Tank Dell injury was one of the worst injuries in a while. It seemed like it sucked the life out of the game. It sucked the life out of them. All of a sudden, they only had 1 receiver. But it felt like they had a real chance to win that game. And I liked the way their defense was playing. After that, it was like, they're not going to win this.
You know what? I think they're mid-carders. Who's
Maybe
a good WWE comp from the 80s? Like David Bruno,
Tito
San Martino?
Santana?
Tito Santana. All right. Yeah. On his way down, I would say. Santana. Cowboy Bob Orton, somewhere in there. Because that's perfect right there. But yeah, you're right. That injury was awful.
Val Venus?
Yeah. Vita Vey? I don't know. No, but that was an awful injury. It was gross. There was a lot of emotion. And then the sadness turned to outright hate when Fairbairn missed that extra point, which basically
I know he got ice for a half hour.
Yeah, that was it.
So we had those 2 games. We had terrible college football games. But we had the fight. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And both of us had a lot of money on Usyk. And after round 5, I was super worried because it felt like Fury had put on so much weight. It just felt like he was too big, and it felt like he had somehow stayed in enough shape to battle Usyk, and it felt like Usyk could not figure it out. And then, of course, he figured it out.
When Fury came out with those trunks and they were so high, they were like just right under the nipples, and you're like, oh yeah, he's hiding that gut. But he kept coming at him. I mean, I hadn't seen heavyweights like that where, usually you're going to get clenches for half the round. You got like 1 or 2 per round. Like those guys were just thrown at each other.
Yeah.
And
Usyk was determined not to be leaned on, be trapped against the ropes. He was always trying to stay in the middle, moving around.
Could we see it again? I know he's beaten it twice, but I don't, it's weird because neither guy was rocked to a point where, oh man, he's really in trouble in either
Yeah.
fight, I don't think. But I'd love to see it again. Like, why not? Just keep fighting.
It was great. I would watch Usyk fight anybody. I
Yeah.
really love how he kind of changes his style depending on who he's going against. He'll go back and forth between southpaw and regular. He's always up to shit. But
What about Drake May? Would you want him to fight Drake May? I think
Drake May would beat him.
I think you believe that too. Kyle, come on. Come
Drake
on.
May was a little brother. He's got beaten up by his brothers for his entire childhood.
Does Drake May beat Usyk in a fight, Kyle?
I love Drake May. I am happy to die on this hill.
Good.
I am happy.
You will.
We have a guy.
The best funeral.
So far. Remember when Dak was good those first couple games with Dallas and you were like,
nope.
You were like, fuck, Dak might actually be good. And you kind of just slowly realized, oh, we have a guy.
Yeah, but it was an angry guy. It was such a Romo guy there, and he won when he beat Pittsburgh. That was the.
It was like an Angelina Aniston thing.
Yeah, my hormones were just way out of whack that season. Yeah.
Couple random observations for you. Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, really good.
I think he's the best rookie receiver. The stuff he's doing in these games with the quarterbacks he's had and the amount of times he's been overthrown and all the different things they ask him to do, he's just terrifying. I feel like he's like a top 7 receiver now, right? If we're doing fantasy again right now, I think he's one of the first 7.
He's stuck on a bad team, I think, right now. But I was looking at his comps against Malik Neighbors this year.
Yeah.
And Neighbors has been out a bunch, but still has more catches and not nearly as many yards or touchdowns or anything else. The guy just knows how to get open. I was looking at these odds. It doesn't matter. Jaden Daniels is going to win, but I think it's a handful of guys who are second. You could put Bowers, you could put Bucky Irving, you could put Brian Thomas Jr. right in there, I think, for second.
Thomas Jr. has to have the degree of difficulty of how bad his quarterbacks have been.
Right.
And I don't know. I'd love to see a montage of how many times he's been wide open and somebody threw it over his head, but it's at least 4 times that I can remember watching. But he went 23rd, so.
Yeah. Right.
And Adunze went over him. Neighbors went over him. Marvin Harrison went over him. And there was 3 teams that needed a receiver. And then he dropped. And if you go look at the little pocket of players, all the players are good. Like Jared Verse, you go on through. But I was like, God damn, I wish the Pats had traded up for him. Or somebody. Like, imagine if KC had traded up for him. He was right in that zone where it would have been pretty easy to move up like 5-6 spots and grab him. But
yeah,
he just seems like he's a home run pick for them. So
it's hard. I'm not going to say it's harder to pick than a quarterback, but some of these guys are in such like spread weird offenses in college. It's tough to see which is going to translate, even with pro days and timing and everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a steal.
I will say Van Lathan, LSU fan who watched him there, was adamant that he was going to be awesome.
Loved him.
He was like, I don't understand why he's the 4th guy and why, like, how did they decide that he was just the 4th best guy out of all these guys? The guy was incredible in college.
Right.
Jared Goff, 33 touchdowns this year. Wanted to mention that. Touchdown passes. Outside chance for 40.
Doesn't Darnold have 32? Is it 33 to 32? I mean, that could be a good week 18. That'll be fun.
I was just thinking, like, that's one of the great random trades of this century. That Stafford Goff trade, how it rejuvenated the line. I know people have talked about it a million times, but Goff just being miles, leaps and bounds better than you ever could have expected if you're the Lions and you're getting him. And then Stafford wins the Super Bowl. But imagine me telling you 3 years ago, Goff is going to be the quarterback on a team that's 13-2, and he's going to have 33 touchdown passes with 2 weeks to go. You'd have been like, what?
I would. Well, you told me the same thing about Mac Jones, and I didn't believe you. But yeah, no, you're right. No, he's if anything else, we could stop the Goff in cold weather, can't get it done thing.
No,
he's now done it in Green Bay. He's done it in Chicago. This was an easy trap game, as bad as Chicago has been, and they butchered him.
I wrote down Caleb has replaced Kyler as the new king of garbage time.
Yeah, maybe.
Down 20, the fucking lights it up. Look out.
Yeah.
Here comes Caleb.
I want him to break the record. Nobody's sacking him enough anymore. It's going to be David Carr's record still. He has like 60. He needs 70. Now David Carr's going to be popping the champagne in yet another year.
I mean,
it's like he has a
Drake
franchise
May.
record. He has a franchise record for sacks. Like if they told the Bears, like, hey, this quarterback is Caleb Williams, he's going to set a franchise record this year. You'd be like, oh, this is great.
Really?
Where do I
Franchise
sign?
record.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years.
Penix looked fine.
Yeah.
He's okay.
You know what?
He can move, unlike Kirk Cousins.
Was 18 for 27, 202. I bet, maybe you think this is a dumb bet anyway. I bet no interceptions because I thought they were going to put kid gloves on him. There's going to be a lot of Bijan, going to be a lot of screen passes. And that fucking Kyle Pitts.
Oh, when he threw
worst player in NFL history. And it doesn't even count as a fumble because he catches the ball and bats it right to the defender. He even drops the ones he catches, like not called fumbles. Drafted 4th overall. That's a bad pick. That's the worst.
I would have been more outraged about that, but the Patriots have done that to Drake May like 4 times this year, where they've caught the ball and then just whipped it to the other team. That should have a name when a guy does that. It shouldn't count as an interception for the quarterback. It should be like a team interception or something.
It's not good. It's the Pits for sure. That said, Falcons defense was the ad drop of the decade. Anyone who had the Falcons defense picked them up Thursday, Friday. Good job by you. You won your fantasy week.
Last thing I had before Guess the Lines. Rickey Henderson.
Great Met.
Kind of ahead of his time. Would have been really great with the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Like social media, he would have been a whole other level of famous, notorious, everything. I remember doing the unintentional comedy rating, like doing that whole, like he was one of the unintentionally funniest athletes we've ever had. He was also great to watch. There was nobody like him. He was way ahead of his time with the on-base steals, power, like all the stuff like we knew in the 21st century mattered, but we didn't really know in the previous century. And in person was one of like the 7 or 8 most memorable baseball players I ever went to see in person, right? Isn't the same for you?
Terrific. One of the most entertaining, obviously the fastest you've seen, head first sliding, just taking the base off, just holding the base over his head. We just don't see it anymore. I mean, because no one's breaking the records like he does. But yeah, I think you're right about the social media. He would be just what Major League Baseball needed. Like where Mike Trout, you can't get any good sound bites at all. No. Rickey Henderson would be all over. He would be basically Yogi Berra from 2000, right? And before.
The third person stuff was so fucking funny with him.
Oh yeah.
Like other people have done it. He did it the best. I remember I went to Yankee Stadium once with a couple of my high school friends, and we sat in the left field bleachers. He was playing left field. It was like late 80s. And he'd run out every inning. And our whole section was just screaming, Rickey! Rickey! Trying to get him to turn around. And he came out every inning for like 5, 6 innings, and he wouldn't turn around. And we're just we're drinking, and we're like, Rickey! Come on, Rickey! One time, Rickey! He's stonewalling us.
Nothing.
And then like the 6th inning, we're like, Rickey! And then finally he turned around, huge smile on his face, and tipped his hat. But we had been doing it for like 2 hours. And we were like, what was the tipping point for him? Was it like we couldn't have done that in the 3rd inning? But it was just, it was so much fun to just watch him like walk around, interact with people.
Yeah.
There was nobody like him.
His hearing was very bad. So maybe he just didn't notice it.
No, he was great.
He was so much fun. What a bummer.
I felt like he was on a lot of teams too. Like he was in the Red Sox.
He was. You do immaculate.
He was on the Mets and Yankees.
You can nail the immaculate grid with him all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a fun year with him, just watching him. I mean, he was an older version of himself, but all right. Guess the lines. What's the score?
Let's do it. You're up 8-7-1 heading into week 17. Yeah. 8-7-1.
So I don't know if you know this, but there's Christmas Day games this year. On Wednesday.
Are there really?
Yeah.
Well, what? Yep. I mean, CBS?
No,
NBC?
Netflix.
What? The one where you mail in the DVDs and you get them back? How is that going to work?
20 people doing the 2 games. Pretty much everybody.
Oh, it's a lot. Yeah, it's your
A lot.
nightmare. You hate that.
Well, it seems like they're only going to have 4 or 5 people on the thing, but the
What
good
are they
news
gonna do
for
with the
them
other
is
15?
nothing can be worse than Jack Collinsworth interviewing like Tony Dungy. What is that segment? Why doesn't
I
Jack
don't know.
Collinsworth get to make points? He's like, Tony, what do you think about
Yeah, I
what do
know
you
it.
think about their defense?
Well,
So
I
you're
guess
just
it's
setting
just
him up for questions? Like a
yeah,
fan
it's
could
weird
do
if
that.
Tony Dungy just asks himself the questions. So I guess that's how it has to be.
That would be amazing.
You'll learn a lot from this guy, Jack. Just ask him anything.
Hey, the
Trust me.
Cowboys just play. That's the greatest game I've ever seen, Jack. Let's get a drink.
I can watch these two teams play till March.
Secondary. Christmas Day, Chiefs at Steelers. So, spoiler alert, I have home underdogs for both games. Chiefs
right.
at Steelers. I have Chiefs by 2.5 in Pittsburgh.
Oh, here's where the cheating, the Netflix
shut
cheating
up.
begins. I had 3. It is 2.5 exactly.
Should be 2.5. You can get Pickens back for this game.
Yeah,
Super
this is
winnable
tough.
game for the Steelers.
This is a good one. Which NBA game is this up against? You're not going to watch any NBA, are you?
I might sneak a little. I don't know what the NBA is doing with the scheduling. 3 games today. It's like God forbid they had a game going against Cincinnati and Dallas on Sunday night, a game that literally meant nothing. God forbid he had one game going against that.
They wouldn't do that.
No, didn't make sense. They're like intentionally shooting themselves in the foot.
Or your Celtics play at 2:00 our time, so you should be good.
It's a bored Celtics team. Just waiting to get to April now. The Celtics are, anytime they're favored by 10 and up against anybody, you got to be careful. Just don't know. Like that first Bulls game they played. I know in the first quarter, I'm like, oh, it's one of these games. Okay. I got it.
Well, let me know because I'll live bet against them. I know you won't, but
no.
Just send me a little text. We'll split.
Tatum's been great. Next one is Ravens at Houston.
Mm-hmm.
No Tank Dell. No Stephon Diggs.
Mid Carters, Salvatore Belomo. Here we go.
Salvatore Belomo. SD Jones. Ivan Putski.
He's perfect, actually. Yeah.
I have the Ravens by 2.5.
All right, that's exactly what I had. It is 3.5.
Yep. It's a tough one.
I'd be surprised if Baltimore.
What's the bet?
For Wednesday? Celtics? No. Man, I kind of like both favorites. I kind of do.
I like the Steelers in the tees. Thursday. So we have 2 Wednesday games, and then somehow they're like, let's also have a Thursday game.
Yeah, barely.
Seahawks at the Bears. I have another road favorite. I have Seahawks by 2.5.
I changed this. I had 3.5. I changed it to 4.5. We're going to split it. It is 3.5. I went 4.5. Yep.
Thank God they fired Matt Eberflus.
That
fixed it.
Freaking disaster.
That fixed it.
It really is something.
Sunday marquee. This is a really good game. Vikings Packers in Minnesota. It's like one of the 5 best games of the year.
Really good.
I had the Vikings by 2 because I think people, there's a shred of doubt, like which even you have. It should be a 3, but I'm going to say Vikings by 2.
3.5. And I still need some convincing that it shouldn't be. You're right. It's 1.5. You get it.
What did you guess?
I had 3.5.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, why? What do you mean, Jesus?
No, people like this Packers team.
I know. They have
1.5 is like, that's an even field line now. That means if it was in Green Bay, it would be Green Bay by 1.5.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Packers off a short week and Vikings. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to take the Packers after all this nonsense talk, but
people like the Packers. Wow. So Steelers Packers is a tease. I'm going to look at that one. Watchables. I got 4, and it's mostly playoff related. Chargers at the Pats because the Chargers need it. I think it's a game to watch. It'll also be fun because Drake Maye is really good at football. You'll enjoy watching him. Drake Maye
This is
fans.
a Saturday game, Saturday morning, right? For us.
Oh, you're right. It's a Saturday game.
Yeah, it's 3 Saturday games. Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't mark down my Saturday
this
games.
screws you up.
Oh,
This
see,
screws you up, buddy.
bad
I win the
hosting.
week. I win the week. This is like you not
No.
signing your golf card at
No,
the
no,
end.
no.
I win
It's
the week.
fine. Chargers, Pats. I have the Chargers by 4 in New England.
All right, I get this. I said 6.5, and it's 5.5.
That's stupid. It's too high. I like the Pats.
No. Have you seen their quarterback?
The problem for the Pats in this game is they had the Lad McConkey pick, number 34, traded backwards 3 spots to 37 to take Polk.
Right.
And then with the 4th rounder they took Baker. And McConkey on Thursday night had more yards in that game than those two guys have had the entire season.
Polk was good, though. Shit.
Yeah, Polk lost his
college.
confidence. Yeah,
It was
I don't know
good.
what happened. Next Saturday game is Bengals-Broncos. This is in Cincinnati. And I think there's going to be a little irrational Bengals love that pushes this line over 3 to 3.5. Bengals by 3.5.
All right. Well, I was way irrational here. I said 5.5. It's 3. Nobody trusts. FanDuel does not trust the Bengals at all.
This does
That's
feel
a
like
Saturday
a
game too, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, I'm on it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I didn't realize that I actually did this correctly. Because the third one I just wrote down watchables and I meant to write down Saturday. Because the other one is Rams-Cardinals, which is also a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Although the Cards have been eliminated. It's in LA. And I'm going to say Rams by 4.5.
It's Rams. I got this exactly. It's 5.5.
Oh. Notice I'm on with these picks. I'm like very close. This is usually a good sign for my betting.
The Cardinals beat them 41-10 in September.
Yeah, that was when the Rams were all banged up, though.
Jeez.
Fairly watchables. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Home for the Carolina Panthers. In a game that I think is almost guaranteed to be Joe House's underdog money line special on the Ringer Sunday pregame.
He shouldn't do it.
Lock it down. I Bucks by 8.
You're going to get this. I said 9.5. Why is it 9.5? It's 8.5.
Oh, I did get it. Teaser.
They played what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
I don't think I would tease Tampa because of that. I didn't love their defense. That was another iffy game for them. Okay, next fairly watchable. Dolphins at Cleveland.
What does fairly mean anymore? I got to look up fairly.
Well,
No,
it's
I
an
guess
important
it's-
game for the Dolphins. The
That's true.
Browns are always a dumpster fire. It's cold weather. Myles Garrett. This game could go in a lot of directions. I have Dolphins by 6.5.
I get this. I said 6. It is 5.5. 6 to 5. You're up.
That would be a nice little cold weather test for the Dolphins if it's cold,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Is there a
let's see what you
team-
guys have.
A quarterback bad enough that you could win where the temperature doesn't matter. It's interesting. Yeah.
Is there another quarterback that can play? Are they down
It's-
the road with Thompson Robinson? Is there do they have anybody else?
They're talking about signing him for next year already. I was looking into this, keeping him around.
Eagles, Cowboys in Philly. And I would have said 10.5 before what I watched today. And now I'm going to say 9.
Yeah, you're gonna get it anyway. I said 8.5. It is 10.5. You could have stuck with
Oh,
it.
Jesus. That's too high.
34-6. They beat us.
That's too high, especially because I'm not convinced Hurts plays next week. Are you?
Well, is it going to be a dependent neurologist or an independent neurologist that tests this? We shouldn't
don't
make
know.
jokes. I don't know.
No, but
it's
it's
all right. Is this his first concussion?
But the game doesn't 100% matter for
Yeah, I
them.
guess
Like,
you're
why
right.
wouldn't they take it easy with them and just play Pickett for a week?
Right. Yeah, it's true. They like beating the Cowboys. That's why. But other than
4
that, you're right.
poop-fecta games. Bills, Giants, and Buffalo. I got Bills by 12.5.
Jets.
Bills,
right?
Jets. My bad.
Yeah.
Bills minus 12.5 against the Jets.
Oh no, I had 10. It's 9.5.
Too low.
Let's take that. Let's figure something out with that.
It feels like a 3-team 7-pointer.
Yeah.
Saints home for the Raiders. Awful game.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Saints by 2.5.
Jerk. I had 3. It is 2.5.
Colts at the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
What's crazy is I don't think the Giants can be getting under a touchdown against anybody at this point who's half decent to somewhat crappy, which is
No,
the
they
Colts are in
can't.
there.
No, go on. You should guess under. Guess under a touchdown.
I got Colts minus 8.
Shit. I said 6. It's 7.5. You get it.
I'm on this week, Sal.
Damn. Hold on. Let me count. Can I even
I'm
win?
on. You're done.
7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're right. 3. I'm down 3 with 3 left.
Jags home for the Titans. I got Jags minus 1.5. I think this is a neutral field line.
Man, I can't believe how much I'm losing by half a point here. I said 2. It is 1.5.
I'm on it today.
You really, it's like when the Patriots were cheating at their best, like the spy cams and everything, stealing signs, everything working. That's
You say what you need to say to help yourself.
That's what you got. Thank you.
I mean, we agreed that minus 1.5 is the neutral field line, right?
I know. They should.
Are the Jags 1 iota better than the Titans or vice versa? They both suck. How?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a neutral field line.
And it
Sunday
was
night.
10-6 a couple weeks ago. Yep.
Sunday night, Washington home for the Falcons.
Oh,
It's a good game.
does it mean anything for the Washington? I know there's like a 3% chance they don't make it or something, but that touchdown now, that really did kill me.
Does it mean anything? Let me see. So
No, they could still, I think.
no,
be
Seattle
out.
or Atlanta, like the Seattle Atlanta combo could catch them, right? Like
Well,
you could get like a 3-way tie at 10 and 7,
I
and
guess
maybe it's
that's what
bad
it
for
would
them.
be. Yeah.
If they had clinched, we would have heard that they clinched.
Right. No, I know. I saw Kornacki.
Oh, and by the
like
way, they're playing
93%.
Atlanta, which is one of the teams that could catch
Right.
them. So,
Right.
Washington minus 3.5 is my guess.
I get this. I said 4. It's 4.5. But I think that's a little high.
Ooh, that's too high.
Atlanta has Kyle Pitts, though.
They factored in the Kyle Pitts team interception.
Yeah.
Last one, Monday night, a game that I guarantee they were thinking was going to be fucking awesome. Detroit at San Francisco. This was like ESPN was probably one of their first draft picks when they draft what games they want to have for Monday night.
It's the NFC
It's probably a
Championship.
top 3 game, right? Oh yeah,
Right.
let's put that December after the Monday after Christmas, Lions Niners. That's gonna be one of our best games. We'll have an awesome Manning cast. Well, the joke's on you because this game's gonna suck. Lions minus 6.5 is my guess.
Wow. I said 5.5. It is 3.5, Bill.
Oh my lord.
Wait, did I maybe 6, 8, 3? Yep,
No,
I won. No, you won. 10-8. Damn.
What? 3.5? What's the explanation for that? The Lions need the game. They're trying to get the 1 seed. How does that make sense?
Is this a get right game for the Niners offense? If the Lions are that banged up, now have to travel.
You know, I'm in an unbelievable hedge situation with the Lions 1 seed if they win that game. Because we both we have a lot of 1 seed money.
Yeah.
We're like, we had them at like 6-1.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be home for Minnesota week 18.
Right. Yeah, sure.
If they win, they get the 1 seed. If they lose, they don't get the 1 seed. We'll be able to take the Minnesota money line and just walk away with a profit. And yet we won't do it because we're going to have that heat moment where you do the Tom Sizemore and you go, for me, the action is the juice. Let's ride the Lions. And all of a sudden we're riding the Lions. That's how it's going to play out.
I like that movie a lot. And I like where you're coming from. Should we bet the Vikings this week? Isn't that kind of the same thing?
Well, the parlay would be they'd have to beat Green Bay and Detroit.
Yeah, but if they lose this game.
But what the odds wouldn't be.
Right.
I don't feel like the odds are worth how hard that's going to be to do that.
All right.
Well, do they have the odds? I'm going on FanDuel now.
For the division?
Yeah.
Minus
Yeah.
290 for Detroit, plus 240 for the Vikings. I guess we could just do that. You can't be the 1 seed and not win the division, right?
You know, another interesting thing that happened with, speaking of FanDuel, did you see the MVP odds?
I have not
Because
looked.
Allen wasn't
Wow.
awesome today.
Yeah.
It's down to minus 450.
Right.
They're playing, who did they say, who did we say they're playing
The
this
Jets.
week? They're playing the Jets. And then week 18 Pats, he might not even
Mm-hmm.
play. And then Lamar's playing on Christmas, trying to get the two seed or 3 seed.
Lots of eyeballs there. Yeah.
So Lamar is plus 380 now for MVP.
He'll have to win the division, right? So he has to get lucky and have big games.
I think if he's incredible on Christmas, it's in play. But Allen was 9-1 Thursday, and now he's minus 450.
Yeah. Well, he threw an interception. God forbid. That's good. That's a good battle, I think.
And then make the playoffs odds.
They only have 4. They only have
Cincinnati's 22-1 not to make the playoffs.
Wait a minute. That went up from this morning?
If you bet them to make the playoffs, it's plus 1040.
It was 680. They have a worse shot now. I guess because the Colts.
You know
and
what? Because of the
both
Colts
won.
and Dolphins. Yeah.
Wow, numbers are fun. Yeah, the Colts are plus 390 and the Dolphins are plus 820.
And Denver's minus 280.
So the Colts need Denver to lose to Cincinnati, and then they need to win their last 2, which you said were very easy, right? Who was it? The Raiders? Who had some?
Yeah, but they're the Colts. I mean,
know, they
Richardson
really are.
just loves to throw. They're playing the Giants, so they'll win next week.
Yeah.
But then they're home against the Jags. I guess that's pretty easy too.
Oh,
And they're
it could
playing.
be
Those
close.
might be 2 of the 3 worst teams in the league.
Yeah, the Jags will try, though.
So Indy,
That's a fun one.
yes, plus 390. Denver's
play
at Cincinnati,
the Chiefs
home
and the Chiefs.
KC.
Yeah.
Why are they favored?
I go back and forth as to who that's going to matter for. Well, now it's going to matter for Denver, right? Is Denver in if they win? Now I'm all
Yeah, I think they have to
confused.
win the last 2.
They have to win both.
Yeah.
So that, yep, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Interesting.
And then we have conference. Oh, the one
I think
seed
Denver
bets.
would only have to win one, Simmons, because that minus 280, it wouldn't be minus 280 if they have to win both. Would it be?
Yeah, maybe they just have, or maybe they have to win one and then all the other variables if
Yeah.
anyone loses anything. So they have 1 seed bets on FanDuel. Detroit's minus 310. Minnesota's plus 310. Eagles are 17-1. They're not winning. So we could hedge right now with the Vikings plus 310.
Plus
if we wanted
310?
to. For me, the action is the juice.
That's it, Billy Sizemore. I like it. We're staying put. The worst.
What do you think,
defense.
Raheem? The bank is worth the risk. Raheem's threatening to go in another cold funk, by the way. I'm worried about him.
What do you mean?
He lost a couple bets. He was all upset
I
in the
know.
text thread.
Yeah, it's all right. He's in Vegas. He'll be fine. He's in Vegas
be
for
fine.
like 3.5 weeks. What
Okay,
could go
good.
wrong?
What could go wrong? We'll see him for round 1 in my house. And
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in mentally, what kind of shape JJ's going to be in. What if we get Dolphins in round 1?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we should start rooting for the Dolphins now.
Oh,
because
so-
that's what we need.
So Rudy says the Broncos only have to win 1 of the next 2 to
Yeah.
get in, which
Yeah,
we
it would
probably
have
should
to
have
be.
known.
Minus 280, yeah.
But that's
Thank
at
you,
Cincy, home KC.
Well, they're only a 3-point underdog at Cincy, so they're right there.
What do you got for Parent Corner?
Parent Corner. All right. So I mean, you would thank you for checking up on me there Saturday. It did turn out my son did not have ringworm, so we did have to go to the tournament. I had to drive him to get weighed in because the team doesn't have buses. At 7 a.m., sat in my car. I bet EPL like a lunatic. Tournament started at 9:30. All these games going on. You know, it was supposed to be. Luckily, the games weren't great, but you know, I still had to watch wrestling till like 2 p.m. So I'm in my car from
Well,
7
the fight's
a.m.
at
to 2
the fight was at like 1:30.
It was like 2:30. I got home just in time for it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but you and I were talking about this, and I feel like we should go further with it. I think you said something like, we do these things. Why? So that our kids don't abandon us later in life when we need them.
Oh, you want to
right?
talk? This is a depressing text thread we had.
It was, but I think we should make it official. I don't know what we call this, but we should make agreements with our kids.
It's layaway plans.
Is it layaway?
Yeah. When we get
Yeah.
old and we're dying and they're taking care of us, if they complain at all, we're like, I was at that fucking wrestling tournament for you when you were 15. I wasted my whole Saturday and it was a great sports day. You're gonna go get me a glass of water now.
I like it, but I wonder if we present it like right away, like right when they move out, when they're 18 years old, you have a list, like a scroll of stuff. I don't know if we call it a parental prenup or kinsurance, maybe. And you just show your kid
Kinsurance.
Kinsurance. That's what it is.
Yeah. You have to take care of me.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, remember you got a D in geometry, and I found out, and you told your mother you got a C, and well, I never said anything, so you have to shop for me when I'm old. And remember, I took you to wrestling tournaments in Orange County at 6 a.m. all throughout the fall, and I had to watch Penn State, who I had thousands of dollars on a teaser, also for your benefit on my phone from the smelly bleachers. You're gonna wipe me when I turn 80, all right? And,
right.
If I bail you out of juvenile detention, you're building a ramp in my house when I can't walk up the stairs. I think we should have to lay it out for these kids as we're, it's not like, all right, plus you get money, whatever, if I pass on. But
right.
I think this needs to be an official thing.
Kinsurance. So your dad, if he had played the kinsurance card a couple years ago, is anything different? You're spending more time with him on the weekends? No?
I would never see him after he turned 50. No.
You're like, I've lost your insurance papers.
No, he's like the Dallas Cowboys. Like, you know what? Why couldn't you be good early in the season, early in my life? Why are you turning it on now as a grandparent? No, I shouldn't say that. He's a great dude. Kinsurance.
Why are you trying to finish 9-8?
What would you say to Ben? What would you present to Ben?
I mean, I'm lying for Ben tonight. He's got girls over and he's like, don't tell mom. I'm like, all right, I won't tell her. Oh, shit.
There you go.
Now I'm on live YouTube. I guess I said something.
There you go. He's got to take you to the Celtics.
I'm going to invite people over while my dad's doing a podcast in a different room in the house.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's great. In fact, we probably should wrap it up soon. Yeah, I'm going to cash in on my kinsurance.
I love it.
So my
I think you just said yours. It's better than that. He's got kids. He's got girls over right now.
My stepmom, who has been in my life since the mid '80s, and the whole time when we met her, she was like when my dad met her, she was a young doctor, right? And doing the crazy hours like you would see on like Grey's Anatomy, and just like nuts. And then eventually like got better and better, had a practice. She's been delivering babies, doing all kinds of stuff, OBGYN forever. And this is end of the year. She's done retiring.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's it. Great career.
Nice.
Saw a lot of female body parts. Delivered
Not
a lot
as many
of babies.
as Ben, but yeah.
Had a lot of, and it's a weird thing because like Zoe had a playoff game like a month ago, and the coach came over, the other team, before the game, and Maye was like, my stepmother was like, oh, I delivered her baby. And it's like she just runs into these people who she's delivered babies and done these, the most intimate kind of like doctor patient things. And it's like, oh, this is Jessica. I've delivered 3 of her kids. So anyway, she's wrapping it up.
Nice.
So I thought, since this is a nice moment, I would tell a story about my stepmother, who I don't know if I've done much on Parent Corner, who doesn't like to be talked about at all and is probably mortified right now. When I was going to college in Worcester, but then I was living in Boston, I would go hang out with my dad and we would watch sports. We'd go watch like Celtic game, football game. I would just go over, we'd get dinner, and she would always be on call. And part of the reason I would be over is like, oh, we'll watch sports. Molly's not gonna be home. Like she wouldn't want to watch. Her car would always, you would see like they had this driveway in front of where the TV was in the window. And there would be like a minute left and be like, tie game. We'll be back after this to see what happens with Larry Bird and the Celtics. And then the headlights would be in the driveway. And it would be like, oh, she's home. It's it. And then she would come in and and my dad would have to talk to her about her day. as like the last minute of these games. And I used to think it was like the funniest thing ever. I was like, oh my God. Like uncanny timing for showing up anytime there's a big moment. And I thought it was like a couple time coincidence thing, but it became something that happened all the time. And I was telling my buddy Gus about this, and he had the same thing with his wife, where he'd be watching like a Mets game and she'd come home with the groceries. Oh my God, I got to tell you a story. And it's like, I think some people have this power and other people don't, where they show up at the perfectly wrong time of the game. So I was like, well, when I get married, that's never going to happen to me. And then I met my wife, same thing. Shows up, comes home right there in these huge moments. Like do you think some people just have these powers? It's like a magnet? Because my stepmother, I feel like, invented it.
I think 30, 40 years ago, it's more of a power. Now, well, you and I watch sports all the time, so it's going to be.
There's no way to even phase us because sports is on all
TV,
the time.
but also our TV breaks into 4 bot. Like, there's always going to be something interesting that they're going to walk in.
We can pause it.
Right. What I want to know is maybe like a fox. She's been hanging out in the driveway listening to the Celtics game.
Oh, waiting to fuck with us?
Waiting.
Oh, that's interesting.
She's a bigger Celtics
I wouldn't be
fan
surprised
than you are. It turns out she's actually roots harder than you. And just
I wouldn't be surprised.
She's the greatest practical joker of all time. I like that.
Her favorite Celtic was Robert Parrish.
Nice.
Still wears the Parrish jersey or the KG jersey of the games.
Really?
When my dad met her, she didn't know anything about sports, like nothing, didn't have a TV, and now has this whole Celtics history. Anyway,
that's great.
Dr. Molly Clark, hanging it up, end of the year. Great job by her.
Great job by you, Dr. Molly Clark. She delivered.
A lot of deliveries, a lot of vaginas.
She delivered 14 of Tiny Archibald's babies.
Probably Calvin Murphy.
No idea.
What do you got for the holidays? How many people?
Well, we got Ringer pregame show next Sunday. I don't know if I mentioned I'm 14-2 with my wisest wager against the odds.
You didn't mention that.
I know I didn't. I should mention it now. 14-2. That's pretty good. Christmas games we'll talk about on against all odds of the NBA picks. We got a lot for you there, and that's it. Just sticking around. What do you got?
How many people?
How many people for
like
Christmas?
How many people during those 2 Christmas games? How many people are you gonna have to navigate?
9.
That's not bad.
9. Yeah, not too
You know
bad.
what's interesting? The games are earlier.
Yeah, right.
Because they wanted to get them on in Europe, and so the first game's at 10 o'clock. It's like almost like Thanksgiving times, and then the second one's at 1:30. There's no night game.
I think Thanksgiving's a bigger pain in the ass to navigate because you have that hour. You actually have to sit at a table. Christmas, you have the same kind of thing, but the opening gifts doesn't take forever anymore, does it?
Well, we don't have little kids anymore.
Well, how long do you knock even so?
But the little kids part though, that's like in the morning. You open, you take the pictures, and then at 10 o'clock, you're like, all right, I'll see you guys later. Mahomes is on.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah,
it's a tough one to pull off.
I need a wife who delivers babies or something so she can go and I'll let her know when to come in.
A lot of babies. Babies, they name babies after her.
That's great.
Like hundreds of Mollies in the New England area because everybody likes her.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good
hanging
job.
it up. Speaking of hanging up, we're hanging up the podcast. Thanks to Kyle and Cerruti and Gahal. Sal, I'm going to be back with the rewatchables on Monday, and then I'm not going to be back on this podcast till Thursday. What's your schedule going to be?
Well, I don't care about your other podcast. No, against all odds, you'll hear it Tuesday morning. We'll do it right after the Monday night game. And like I said, Ringer pregame show on Sunday. Check it out.
All right. Good job by you. Happy holidays.
You,
Merry
buddy.
Christmas.
Yeah.